All right, welcome everybody. We got Tiffany and Tiffany Vague and Dave Bacon joining us today, and it is ReelQuick for Thursday. So we're going to show you a little video about ReelQuick a little later. Daniel can't join us today, but my goodness, gang, I can't. I don't. We're holding up our hearts, and we're hoping for the best results. Things are getting real grave here. Mikey's been lost at sea now for 2.5 days. It's not looking good, but we're holding hope and we're praying, and we know all of Baja is out there looking for him. So thank you everybody that's looking for him. You can find the updates on Mikey on Phil Freeman Outdoors. Phil's been on this. He's got connections down in Mexico. He speaks perfect Spanish, and he's your go-to place to find out anything and everything. Mikey SD Sip and Chips or Chip, yes. SD Fish and Sips is his handle, and prayers go out to him. And I hope he gets found, and I hope he's found soon. But it's not found yet. They found his boat. And it was upside down in the surf line. And that's
all our hopes and prayers are with Mikey. That's a tough situation, and we can just keep looking and hoping for the best.
Praying for a safe return.
He's a good friend of the show, David and Tiffany, and he was going to be, I know this is, it's hard to believe, but he was going to be our guest tomorrow. He bought himself a little Starlink Mini. He's traveling down the Baja, and he was going to talk about what was going on and what he had seen so far on his big adventure. He's going to go all the way down to Mag Bay, and literally, I'm not even making this up, I was going to meet up with him next weekend, and we were going to fish Mag Bay together. So I feel really bad about this whole thing, and I'm crushed right now that my buddy's gone.
Well, there's still
somewhere out there. He's gone somewhere out there. He's out there waiting for someone to pick him up or someone to find him. But right now, yeah, Tiffany, go ahead.
Don't lose hope. There's still hope. There's still hope.
Absolutely. He's a very good waterman, and it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, but hopefully he gets found, and it's going to be one hell of a story.
We like stories that end happy like that. And that's what we want to have happen here.
And Daniel Rubin, as busy as he is, he's still going to join us. Hi,
Daniel. Good morning. Good morning.
Playing electrician today.
Oh boy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, super sad.
We've all done that. We've all done that, and many of us have the scars to prove it.
No, they haven't found Mikey yet, Elliot. They haven't found him. I don't know what to say or what to do. I'm going to play a quick little video of Mikey here real quick, just so everyone can see who he is and what he's all about. This guy has got the love for this industry like you can't even believe, gang, and he makes some of the coolest videos, and it's just sad to think that we got to talk about like this right now. But check this video out that he made real recently. This is really cool. This is Mikey. Mikey's lost at sea right now. We're all going to say a prayer right now. We're going to hope and pray that Mikey's found. He's a very, very, very good human being inside and out. Plus, he's a great waterman. So he kind of has a half a clue of what the hell's going on. I don't want anybody to say anything negative. Let's hope and pray that Mikey's found. Fish and Sips. You can follow him on Instagram and YouTube. Check out Mikey, and let's just hope and pray we hear real soon that Mikey's found and he's doing fine. Yeah, that's Mikey right there in a nutshell. He's the man. He's hell of a waterman too. So let's just hope the kayak flipped over. He hit his flotation device, and He's floating around out there. Someone's going to pick him up, and we're going to have a hell of a story to tell the world.
It
And
will be a good story, and it will be told right here.
absolutely, we'll have him on here as soon as we can. Yep, they say his rods were always tethered to his skiff. I didn't see them. They're not in the picture. I don't know, but it was only half of his skiff. So hopefully he's on the beach somewhere. He swam into a beach, and it's such a rugged coastline up there. Ascension Bay and the island and everything. It's very, very rugged. And if you're not really looking on the beach, now everyone's going to be looking on the beach. We were looking for them out in the water, but now we're going to start looking for them on the beaches, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of coastline, and it's so, in some cases, it's kind of remote enough that it takes a while to get oneself found.
Right. So we all just keep our fingers crossed and hope and pray that Mikey makes it, right? I mean, that's all we can do.
Yeah.
That's all we can do, gang. And it's kind of hard to do a podcast or a show when you got one of your buddies in the water or out there missing. So we're going to do the best we can. I don't think anybody on mainstream media or the news or anybody's picked this story up. I haven't seen anything about it. Dave Bacon just got back from the Bahamas. He would have heard about it across the United States. I don't think anybody's picked up this story except Phil Freeman, myself, and everybody in the Southern California local industry, fishermen. We all know. I mean, Dave Brown and the gang over at Okuma know about it, and Promar, but I don't think the mainstream media is going to pick up on it because it's not about Trump.
Right.
You know,
Right.
if it's not something negative about Donald Trump, they don't really care right now. So that's insane. Exactly, Elliot. It's absolutely insane that this is a hell of a story. This should be picked up by all your networks, but all they want to focus on is negative Trump. And I can't even imagine what they're going to do, how they're going to function when he's no longer the president. They're not going to have anything to talk about.
I'm sure they'll come up with something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy, but we'll try to.
We've got a lot of folks saying howdy to us.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just reply with a avast me, hearties, yo ho.
And like Rick Maurer said, and who knows if he had one or if he didn't have one, and if he did, maybe it didn't work or the batteries, or I don't know. But the EPIRB gang, and we talk about this. David Bacon talked about it. Tiffany talked about it. I've talked about it 100 million times in my seminars and in my show. That is the most important piece of equipment you can have on your boat. Like I used to tell my passengers, you want to get as close to me as you can if our boat sinks, because it's going to be shoved up my butt. We're not letting go of that thing. That EPIRB is how they find you. And what it does, gang, is it puts out a signal that all aircraft pick up. It blocks their radios. And it puts out a signal that blocks their radio, and they can tell where you are. And when you're 50,000 feet up in the air and that EPIRB puts out, that would really pretty much be the only way you're going to get saved if you're sunk out in the ocean. You think about that. And Dave Bacon, you can talk about it more because you're more hip on the safety thing. I mean, I'm pretty hip on it, but talk about that because you just went to the Bahamas for a safety deal. So talk about it.
I did. I mean, much of my work is as a boating safety and compliance consultant. And I end up involved in a lot of cases, litigation, civil suits, even criminal. And safety is the heart of the matter. And, I think Captain Dave, you have a good plan for that EPIRB when your boat goes down. That's right where it belongs, because they're liable to find you that way.
Absolutely.
The importance of having one of those and making sure that it's registered and making sure that the batteries are maintained and doing a periodic test is all super important, because when everything goes to hell in a handbasket, that's what you've got. And that's it. Now, it's also a good idea to have a PLB, personal locator beacon, PLB. And that is sort of almost like a mini version, the one for each person. And that can help them find you. But the EPIRB is the big signal that's readable from afar, and satellites pick it up. And yeah, that's, if you don't have one of those on your boat, and it's about the size of your forearm, maybe up to your fist. It's not a tiny thing, and it's maybe about this big around. Okay, so yes, it's a little bit of a factor, and you need to mount it someplace where it can float up. It releases when it goes underwater, and it floats up, and it keeps sending that signal. And so, yeah, you got a little bit of a chore. Where am I going to mount this thing? But the alternative, and there's a good image right there. The alternative is death.
Right. Like I used to always tell my passengers, this thing's right outside the door of the wheelhouse, because I drove a big Hatteras, and it was an enclosed wheelhouse, and it sat right outside the door of the wheelhouse. And I had a plan. I knew I was grabbing that thing, and it was going to be with me. And the best thing for everybody to do is stay with whoever has the EPIRB. And like Mikey with his little solo skiff, you want to stay with the debris. If you're in the water, you want to swim. That's what you want to do. You want to think you can swim to an island or something, but you need to stay with the debris. The debris is going to help you to be found, because that's going to be, if you're a man swimming or a woman swimming in the ocean, there's not a very good chance of someone finding you. But if you're hanging out with the debris, there's a way better chance, right, Dave?
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. You want to stay with what is most visible. And when you look around at what debris is in the water, think about that. What is most visible? Got something bright? Yeah, kind of stick with that part. You just want to be as visible as possible. And having that EPIRB just banging at your signal, here's where I am, because what it does is it sends a signal of your precise latitude and longitude. They can read that signal and go, oh, well, that's where he is. Let's go get him. This isn't just a, hey, something happened, I'm lost out here at sea, go do a search grid. No, this is a right here, right now situation, and they can come get you.
Absolutely. And it's so important, gang, if you don't have the EPIRB, and if you're not, but you're going to give out a last, make sure your GPS is not, I don't even know how to properly say this, but we've seen this so many times with so many people, like the gentleman that sunk down here in Cabo a couple years ago. You want to make sure that when you give the GPS numbers out, you're giving the GPS numbers of your location, not where your cursor is. I don't even know how many times I haven't been in the safety industry, but I've heard so many times that they gave out where the cursor was they look on the GPS, Dave, and they didn't give out where they were. Make sure if you're giving, it's better to not give any numbers than give the wrong number.
That's what Mr. Rogers did, is he gave numbers out that were like 25 miles away from where he was. And that was just because he was in a panic, I guess. Super horrible.
Yeah. You want to use every resource you've got. And many more modern marine VHF radios have the little panic button, DSC, digital signal calling. And it does something similar. It's not an EPIRB, okay? But it sends a signal out they know who you are. Because all of these devices, they need to be registered with NOAA. And that's the reason. You know, this isn't a case of, this may be the only case I can think of where I want Big Brother watching. Okay.
Yeah.
Or I want them to be able to watch when I need it. And those signals going out, you know, both the digital signal calling and also the EPIRB, they it's not just a matter of knowing where somebody is. They know who the somebody is. They know it was, you know, Happy Times boat registered to Joe Fishing folk, you know, and so they know who it is and they know where it is and they know that it's in trouble. So that's just an automatic launch a search and go right there situation. That is the best chance of getting found. Does it require a little bit of investment? Absolutely. Is your life worth that? Well, you tell me.
Right. And it might, your life might not be worth it, but your family and friends' lives are, and the things that you'll put your family and friends through by not being found is pretty crazy. What I want to tell everybody, we're not trying, listen, I don't know how to better tell everybody the best way to save yourself than to do it right here on our podcast. I want everybody to understand, though, I am not using this tragedy to better myself or to better the views on. He is a close personal friend of mine, and I have a big investment in this thing. So anybody that's saying that I'm using Mikey to promote myself, that's a bunch of crap, because I would have promoted myself just fine with Mikey being right here with me tomorrow. So anybody that's saying that, shame on you. Shame on you. And people that attack Phil for posting and putting his logo, that's how we're all finding out what's going on. We're using Phil Freeman because he's in touch with everybody, gang. And if one of you guys have a platform and you can share all this stuff on it, please do. I don't care who's getting the views. We've got to share this. We've got to find this young man. We have to find him. And I'm not taking advantage of it. I get views no matter what. I'm just using my platform to talk about Mikey today, and I'm using my platform to talk about prevention and to save the next guy or the next gal's life. And Dave Bacon and I, we're going to commit. I said we weren't going to talk about it that much today, Tiffany, but I'm sorry.
It's okay. Go. It's needed.
As this thing is moving along right now and it's live, I'm watching all the comments and I'm seeing the amount of people that actually care. We're going to stay on this for the whole hour today, and we're going to talk about, he's going to be found, and it's going to be a hell of a story. And I don't care I just want to hear the story. I don't care who he's telling it to, as long as he gets to tell the story. And it's going to be bitching to hear how bitching it was to be stranded on the island or at night and how you got saved and everything else. That's going to be cool. But this is the kind of things we're talking about right now, gang, are totally avoidable. And Dave Bacon, I want you to talk more about how we can avoid, any of us that are out on our boats, how can we avoid this kind of a tragedy, or even the amount of people that are looking for him right now? How can we avoid that?
You know, good question. And we have some really sharp, good people right here on here with us. I want to point over to Alan Clowers, who wrote just a beautiful little thing. He says, EPIRB DSC with ditch bag, with charged handheld radio, water, food, 3 smoke flares, 3 parachute flares, 3 regulars, handheld flares, mirror, orange flag, and whatever else you want to have in there. I mean, that's spot on advice. And I have written articles before on what you want to have in the boat for when you don't have a boat all of a sudden. And a ditch bag is something really, really important. And so, you know, I understand, I get it, that you got a kayak, right? Now, a ditch bag with all of these things in it is not small. You know, the EPIRB is not small. All of what you need to have out there is altogether a little bit bulky when you're talking about something as small as a skiff or a kayak. So yes, it becomes a little bit of a problem. You may have to leave one of your 8 rods behind to do it. Sorry, Tiffany. Maybe they weren't a vague rod, but you know, you might have to leave a little bit of stuff behind to get to have all of that. But again, it's maybe the younger we are, the more what we don't think anything could possibly kill us. We're immortal, you know, and so we go out there and take these chances. And you know, it's in the work I've done in the safety arena. When something goes wrong, you got it. You can take care of that. When 2 things go wrong, it starts getting dicey. When the 3rd thing goes wrong, it's all over. It's 3 things. When 3 things go wrong, it's too much to take care of. And so you need to have a thought process of what happens if this, what happens if for some reason I spring a leak, what happens if this, what happens, what am I going to do? That really needs to be a thought process at the point when you're putting together your vessel, whether it's a kayak or whether it's a skiff or a bigger boat or whatever. You just need to think through those processes. And I'll tell you how it can get, and something that has helped Tiffany and I. Been on boats when I showed up with several lengths of garden hose cut into lengths about that long, right? And somebody looks at it, what are you going to catch with those? Not going to stay alive. And what it was really for was when the boat sprung a leak, I could jam those into the most smaller boats. They don't have actual scuppers like boats that Captain Dave and I ran. You know, they've got the little drain holes in the deck, and you stick those in there. And then as water comes in, it doesn't get high enough that it can start getting into the bilge and overpowering you like that. There's just little things like that. If you think about it, what can I do to prevent this? And you bring along a little bit of extra gear, and yeah, it's bulky, yeah, it weighs a little bit, but it saves your life. And,
Right.
and that is a thought process that you need to go through early.
Okay, well, we've had a few questions come up on Instagram, and these are the things we need to talk about right now. Mikey was on a solo skiff, so it's a 2-part vessel. You guys see the front of his vessel. I believe the motor and all his rods and all of his stuff was on the back part of the vessel, the second part. We put a picture up here a few minutes ago. We'll throw the picture back up again. You guys are seeing the bow of his vessel and the back part of his vessel. See that? So the back part of his vessel attaches to that. And then all the stuff was on the back part. If you follow what I'm trying to say here, and if you look at a picture of him, like we showed you the video of him fishing on his skiff, it's kind of weird how this thing's set up. It's a solo skiff. Now there's still a huge search going on. Okay. Every single boat in the bay up in Ascension Bay, they're all looking for him. Everybody's looking for him. Land, sea, air, they're all looking for him. They haven't given up. They kept looking all night last night. They're still looking for him. We all still believe this is a rescue mission. This is not a recovery mission, okay? But as you look at that skiff right there, you can see it's different than a kayak. It's different than something you're imagining in your mind, okay? So they found one little tiny piece of this boat. So we don't know what happened. We know he was having motor problems. We know that he was in contact with the Coast Guard. But other than that, gang, every single thing is speculation, and we don't want to speculate a damn thing. And Dave Bacon will back me up on this one. You don't want to speculate anything because you weren't there. There's only two people that know what actually happened, Mikey and God, and that's it. Nobody else. So whatever you are all saying, just keep it to yourself for a while. If you have nothing positive to bring to this, don't bring anything. I'm just, gang, you don't know because you weren't there. I don't know because I wasn't there. I'm not speculating a damn thing. So you're just seeing one little piece of his boat. That's all you see. That's it. There was a whole bunch of other parts to this thing.
You know, and so many times I've been asked to go into a situation, look at a boat or look at or something else and piece together and try and explain what happened. And that is an amazingly difficult thing to do. There are accident reconstructionists who go to schools to try and do that. And their level of accuracy leaves a lot to be desired just because it's so difficult to do. So, you know, Captain Dave Hansen is right. You look at that picture, it does not tell the story. It's just a picture of the aftermath of the story. And it's the story that we want to learn. And ideally, it's a story we want Mikey to tell. Because, you know, I've heard a number of these stories from people in my line of work. And it is amazing to sit and listen to those stories because it's so dicey. And it's so worrisome at a very personal level. Because you may, you know, like Mikey might be on a shoreline or an island or somewhere, and there's nobody around, and who knows, he may have, you know, a broken ankle or something like that. I hate to even say that, but you know, there could be problems that need to be overcome that are difficult, and when someone makes it through those things, you know who's going to have an EPIRB, PLBs, ditch bag, all of those things on a craft after this, it's Mikey. Okay,
Yeah.
because these are the lessons that you learn, and this is how you learn them. Like, that was close. I don't want to go through that again. And so we all need to learn from that proactively and take care of this proactively. And I can guarantee you, when Mikey is found and he tells his story, I really hope that he's able, and this is difficult, that he's able to open up himself emotionally enough to really talk about what a scary situation that is, and the things he had to face and the decisions he had to make and what he had to try and what he had to give up trying that he wanted to try. You know, that it's a difficult thing to talk about when you've been through something like that. But when Mikey is found and tells his story, we're all going to learn from it.
Yeah, and everybody's learning right now. And if you assume anything, and I understand the boat was upside down when they found it. There's every one of those rods and reels, the motor, every single thing, Mikey has hooked to a lanyard. So to think that every single thing was detached, that's just so, it's hard to understand, gang. The motor being detached, every little piece of, all you get is the hull. That's it. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. And this is a weird story that only two people know, Mikey and God. And if you don't believe, that's fine. My buddy Cubby, he's here right now because of God. He keeps praying and hoping for another day. All he wants to do is get old. And that's all Mikey wants to do right now is get old.
And catch a lot of fish along the way.
And
Yeah,
Brent,
maybe he dumped everything to make it easier to road to get to wherever he was going. Like I said, we don't know, gang. We don't know.
and like what Brent R was saying is very, very dead on too. My dad always had me do plan A, plan B, plan C. Have all the plans together before going out to sea. With the handheld VHF, then you've got your electronics on your boat. you got your cell phone. So the cell phone's the last thing to use. A lot of areas don't have the reception, but in a situation of an emergency, have plan A, plan B, plan C with, being able to be in communication with the United States Coast Guard, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, the most important, we all love to fish, but the most important investment on our boats or kayaks, skiffs, or whatever, is the equipment needed to stay alive. We got to invest in our lives. That's just like first and foremost. Got to have that, or none of the rest exists.
Yeah, and we can't talk about it enough. I mean, we do a show every 6 or 7 months. We talk about all the different things you need to have on your boat. I talk about the EPIRB. I talk about this. I talk about that. And a lot of people kind of tune out when I go into this thing, but we can only thank Mikey for this, because we're at a point right now where we all are becoming aware how fast and how quick and how unbelievably unpredictable the ocean is. It just happens like that. And Dave Bacon will tell you, it happens so quick. You don't even know. You could be fishing, having the time of your life, and everything's over so quick. So as we talk about this today,
one eye for the elements, other eye for everything else.
You got to make sure you have the safety equipment, and reiterate the fact, like Jack Bushnell, he's on here. Mike Lewis, he's on here. There's quite a few people on here with the smaller boats. You go out with your wife, or you go out with your buddy, you go out, you guys are way out there, Jack, on your boat in the middle of the ocean. I hope you guys discuss a plan when you go offshore. And I hope Mike Lewis, and I hope Cubby, and I hope Cubby knows, and I hope he tells all of his buddies and his boys know. You got to have a plan. It sucks to have to talk about it. It really does. But you got to have a plan, gang. And somebody has to have, oh yeah, if you play the update from Phil from this morning, that's cool. With volume.
Freedman Adventures. We have breaking news with regard to Mikey from SD Fish and Sips. We're going to break that news to you right now. A lot of your comments, I know you're praying for a great outcome, as am I, as are all of the Freedman Adventure family members. Mikey's boat, multiple sources are confirming with Freedman Adventures that his boat has been found. It did not have the motor on it, but his boat has indeed been found. Fernando Vallejo, he was a deckhand on the sport fishing vessel Freedom out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California. And he was running trips down to Bahia Asuncion and fishing, taking groups down there fishing. He spent an inordinate amount of time out looking for Mikey, and he is confirming that the skiff has been found. No motor and no sign of Mikey at this hour. We are hopeful, and I'll explain that in a moment, that perhaps he's in the water in a life jacket. Perhaps he made it to land. Now the search, a lot of the local folks down there who have dedicated so much time and expense looking for Mikey, because Mikey is such a beloved person, they are now starting to look at the beaches to see if they can find him. This is now being confirmed also by Sherry Bondi. She owns the La Bufadora Inn, does a lot of whale watching kind of experiences down there in Bahia Asuncion. She knew Mikey very, very well. She's saying that she thinks that he had not only a life jacket, but perhaps some kind of a survival suit. She's not positive, but she thinks that might be the case. And she says that's why everybody is now starting to move toward checking the beaches at this point in time. So I can't say this is the greatest news in the world. It is not, with Mikey missing, but there is still that glimmer of hope, everybody. There is that glimmer of hope that perhaps he did have some kind of a survival suit. Perhaps he's got a life jacket, and perhaps he made it to land. We can only hope and pray that is the case. On the thumbnail, you can see his boat, no motor, and oh man, I'll tell you, this is really, really a tough one. Anybody who knew Mikey, and I got to know him, I invited him on our podcast because I loved his story about how he'd overcome some addiction issues. Him and I talked about that. My being an alcoholic in a previous life, Mikey having his own issues, overcoming that, becoming an inspiration to so many. His kind of almost childlike, not childish, childlike innocence. His love of fishing was so infectious. He had so many fans. He did such a great job. He showed up to a surf fishing event we had here in Sunset Beach, California, and everybody wanted to meet him, but he wanted to meet everybody. I spent some time here recently with Charles Webb and a group of anglers who were wheelchair bound paraplegic anglers, and Mikey was on board that trip, spreading his love and cheer with all of those guys.
Yeah. And the reason why I know that video's gone off 15 hours ago, but a lot of people are coming to right here for this information. So if you've already seen the video, congratulations. That's awesome. I'm super happy for you. If you haven't, I'm just trying to let everybody know what's going on here. And not everyone knows Phil. Not everyone knows me. There is nothing on the TV. There is nothing on mainstream media. There's nothing. So this is it, gang. You got a very small platform to share this information on. So we're just sharing what we know, and we're just sharing the only thing I know how to do, gang. This is the only thing I can do to help my friend, to help a good friend of the fishing community, is just make people aware. And if, like Rick Maurer said, this is giving him a kick in the ass to get the EPIRB on his boat. Gang, you cannot go offshore without it. You can't do this. You cannot go offshore without an EPIRB. You just can't. There's too many variables. You might have done the trip 100,000 times, but man, one time is all it's going to take, and you're going to wish so much that you have this little piece of equipment. And like Dave said, it's $300-400. What is your life worth? What is everybody that's searching for you? Everybody that's in your family? It's just, if you're thinking of what do I get somebody for perfect? My dad, my mom, my sister, my brother, they boat all the time. What do I get them for Christmas? Get them an EPIRB. Get them an EPIRB, guys. It's going to matter. It's going to change. You might not ever use. I hope you never use it. I hope that EPIRB never gets used, but
it'll save you. But when you buy an EPIRB, and the good one costs a lot more than that, but when you buy an EPIRB, what your money is going for is peace of mind. It's insurance, and that is invaluable. It's like, you got this, they can come find you. And that means a lot. And when leadership in this industry, some of us have been around forever. Dave, Tiffany, we've all been here forever, right? And so we've, maybe become leaders because we're more stubborn than most humans. We're still here. But there's leadership qualities. And when you have enthusiasm, like Mikey has, and you mix that with a friendly, warm demeanor that loves to share about it with people and whatnot, then you've got a magic personality, a magic character that becomes quickly a leader in the industry. And so when something happens and we need to go look for this person, this is a big thing to all of us. This is somebody that matters. Wouldn't want it to happen to somebody that didn't really matter either, but Mikey matters.
Absolutely. And right now we're getting word that the whole long range fleet is involved in the search.
Yes. Spirit of Adventures, Royal Polaris, and others are searching right now.
And that's pretty special, gang, if you think about it. These guys, these men and women were out on fishing trips that people paid a phenomenal amount of money for. But they understand it's a matter of life and death. And I'm so happy to know that the industry jumps in and helps industry, helps people, and they're there for it. Because this is a very, even though a lot of people go here and a lot of people fished here, it's still a very remote piece of land. So there's not a lot. And these pongas that are looking and the personal watercraft that's looking, they're only so high off the water. Now you've got the long range boats, the Royal Polaris, the Royal Star, the Spirit of Adventure. You got the guys now with the gyros that know how to look for stuff. So that just brings it up to that level. Because in an airplane or a helicopter, you can't stop. You're not stopping. You're looking and you're looking hard. But to have everybody looking now, oh my gosh. Everything.
I'd like to see some drones down there too.
Yeah.
Maybe some of those big boats have drones that they use to go looking for things, and maybe those can be employed.
Yep. It's cool that everybody's looking, and it's great that the industry's coming together. But I just hope and pray that this is a message to everybody to, no matter if you're just going to Catalina, that channel in between LA and Catalina, it gets treacherous. And if you're up there at Dave Bacon and Tiffany's neck of the woods, Daniel, and thank you, Daniel, for allowing us to do this show. ReelQuick Fishing is allowing us to do this show today. So all hail to ReelQuick Fishing. It makes a hell of a reel seat. And thank you very much for allowing us to do this today, Daniel. This is so important to talk about this. It's so damn important. And thank you for allowing us to have this platform to talk about it. Because this is a big deal in our industry right now. So thank you very, very much. And
this is super concerning situation going on.
Yes.
Everybody's thanking you. We got so many people watching right now that might not know what ReelQuick is, but they will by the end of this show. We're going to show you a little video in a minute about the ReelQuick fishing system, but I just can't emphasize enough that this is a wake-up call for every single one of you. We have approximately 4,700 members of our website. Then we have 800,000 followers on our social media. And then there's another 100,000 on Justin and Al's social media. This is a wake-up call for every single person that's watching. And you should share. I don't care. Once again, you could say, oh, you're trying to get the views. No, you should share this with every single person, gang, because this is so important. And you don't understand how important it is until this happens to a friend or to you. If you're out in that ocean right now and you don't have an EPIRB and you're lost at sea, boy, oh boy, would you wish you had one.
And every day that goes by, it becomes more and more of an emergency situation.
Yeah. And we should stay super positive. Mikey's going to be found. His mom and God are watching over him. And let me just show you what ReelQuick's all about here real quick, and then we're going to get right back into this. We're not even done by any stretch of the imagination, but let me show you this cool fishing device that Daniel Rubin and his partner came up with that helps you to attach your reel in the most positive way that's ever been thought of.
All right, gang, your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen. We're down here at the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Show, and I'm with Daniel Rubin, the creator of the ReelQuick reel seat system. This is an amazing, amazing product.
You guys check this out. ReelQuick Fishing is a dovetail connection. It is in the unlocked position for simplicity here. Comes right off the rod with a dovetail connection. No more screws, no more clamps on the back. Goes on the rod just like that, and we can lock this in place. Turn of a pin. This is strong. This is not coming off of this rod. ReelQuickFishing.com. Dave, you want to add anything to this?
The really cool part about this is the simplicity of it. I fish hard all the time. I hold my rod the proper way. I know a lot of you don't. A lot of you have your hand back here. You always want to have your hand in front of the reel. That's the way that the whole design was made to do, is do it the right way. Normally, when you grab it the right way, you're dealing with the ferrule screws right here. And when you're grabbing it and undoing it, that screws keep coming undone. There's none of that happening anymore. It's a very easy system to use the right way. I was blown away when I saw this. I thought it would add a lot of weight to the rod. Actually, it takes away a lot of the weight.
Okay. There you go, Daniel. Everybody, you can call Daniel. You can find out about this. We talk about it every Thursday on our show. We got Tiffany Vague, one of the best rod builders in the world. We got her dad, Dave Bacon, joining us every single Thursday. We talk about the ReelQuick system, and we talk about how bitchin' Tiffany does at making rods. I'm super impressed to have you as part of our show, and we're going to be working together on the trade shows. David Bacon and I have been doing trade shows for an awful long time, but now we're all teamed up, and we're all going to crush it this year at the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Show. But today's show is about Mikey, and today's show is about awareness of safety equipment and how important it is. And Phil Freeman's doing updates on Mikey, and I'm trying to let you guys know everybody's thinking about him, but somebody needs to reach out to mainstream media and get this thing kicked in the butt and show it on mainstream media. There isn't anything about this on KTLA or ABC or NBC or CBS or Fox or anything. There's nothing. All there is hate and vile hate for Trump. That's it. Nothing. They don't want to report on anything else. They don't want to report on anything. This kid, I don't know why. I really don't know why. But gang, it's time to think about your safety and the safety of the people on your vessel. And David, the thing about these EPIRBs is you register yourself in the database. So when this EPIRB goes off on a jet, and these things go off on a jetliner, gang, on like a 747 or whatever the jetliner is you're flying on, 50, 60,000 feet up in the air, this signal blocks everything. And no matter what, it's the most important thing going on at the time for every single airliner. That's why it's so important, and that's why it works so well. Can you explain that a little bit, Dave?
It's a pretty powerful signal, which is partly why, there's a kind of a hefty price tag on EPIRBs. They're not cheap. Saving your life doesn't need to be cheap. Saving your life is worth it. And it does go out. It contains who you are, and it contains where you are, and it shows that you're in trouble. They know who to come find, they know where to come find you, and they know you're in trouble. And if you're running a charter boat, then before you go out, you should take your list of passengers, your manifest, and electronically send it somewhere, like home or office or whatever you got, so that information can be added to it too. Well, look, here's who's out on the boat. So they know how many souls on board and who they are. And there's other things that we can do for the sake of safety. For example, a lot of boats and smaller craft have a VHF radio of some type, whether it's handheld, mounted, or whatever. And those are very useful devices. Some people try and stay on the down low and don't go on them, especially with digital signal calling, because somebody might figure out where they are and they don't want to give up a fishing spot. One of the biggest problems we have in the fishing community is secrecy. Okay. And here is a case where secrecy can kill, because a lot of groups of boaters, they'll talk to each other on the radio. I mean, there's a chatting channel in a lot of areas. It's channel 68. Depending on where you go, it might be a little different. But there's a chatting channel, and people who chat, they know that each other is okay. And if they try and call somebody and they don't get an answer, well, they might figure, okay, he or she is on a fish right now. Give them a little bit of time. But they're going to keep trying, and they're going to start worrying. And that's going to maybe launch the first investigation. Okay, well, I know he said they were fishing over there, so let's go over there and see if we find him. And pretty soon, when not, then you got everybody in that group all out looking. And okay, in the case of Mikey, who was someplace that was really remote, so there might not be other people out there. So I may be speaking more generalized now than specifically in Mikey's situation. But in general, file your float plan, where you're planning on going, with somebody that's going to be assured. Somebody can let the authorities know what the plan was before, well, if they hear there's an issue, somebody missing, something like that. It's difficult because when we're out there and you see something off on the horizon, like that group of birds, hitting the water, and you go, oh, I got to go check this out. And then you hear a report about on the radio or phone call or something about a bite over here. Pretty soon you've abandoned your float plan because of fishing immediacies, right? So that can be an issue, but to have something in place to start with is good. And then to have communication whenever possible with other boaters is also good. And so just remember, part of what we're doing out there, folks, we're a community. Communities keep each other safe. That's what we're doing out there. Keep doing it.
Absolutely, gang. And we're here seeing all of your comments, and thank you all for everything that you're sharing positive with me, and for all your positive thoughts on Mikey and everything else. This is a wake-up call for the industry, though. You check your batteries, like Cubby said, and I talk about it all the time. As far as your batteries on your boat go, you would be shocked, and Tiffany and Dave will back me up on this one. You will be shocked at how long it's been since you changed your batteries. Every time we have to change the batteries on a boat, we're like, we just changed these things a couple of years ago. Then we look at the date and we're like, oh my God, it's been 5 years already. Gang, 5 years is too long for batteries on a boat.
Too long.
What you just mentioned, Captain Dave, 2 years, that's my max.
Yep.
That's my max. And the reason is, it's unbelievable how much trust I put into that battery. That battery keeps us alive. I mean, it doesn't just help us fish, and it does. And it helps us communicate. It helps us do all sorts of things. But that battery keeps us alive. And when you're out in tough situations, like let's say you're crossing the channel and it's just a windy, white-cappy, rough day for the size of your vessel, and your battery, something happens to it, hey, you can be in serious trouble right then, right there. So yeah, a battery is not just on EPIRBs, but in your boat and every battery on board. Don't let it go more than 2 years. It's always been my way.
Our good friend, I won't mention your name, Matt Ryan, but our good friend, Matt Ryan, was fishing inside of LA Harbor, lobster fishing. Done it a million times. This just the other day. Pulled his motor up to get something off the propeller, put the motor back down in the water, went to start it, dead batteries. Yeah. Listen, now it becomes super sketchy because Matt's in Long Beach, LA Harbor. He's free. He's drifting through the harbor with no batteries. Guess what cruises in and out of the harbor, mostly at night too? Giant freighters, and they can't stop.
No,
they will not stop. And
they can't stop at a drop of a dime.
And so he's not even a mile off the beach, and tragedy almost struck. You guys, you'll be shocked when you go check out, and I talk about this 10 times a year on the podcast. When you guys take that cover off your battery and you look at the date and you're like, oh, shoot, how did that happen? Well, because, man, we're busy. We are all busy. We're busy, and time goes by so quick, and you guys are going to go, how did that happen?
Here's one thing that people need to do, because time flies by you, especially when you're out there working and having fun. Everybody has their little smartphones. All the smartphones have little calendars. Put it in your calendar ahead of time, a year out, 2 years out max, and have that on your alarm, because when you put stuff on your calendar, it can alert you a day before an event. Create an event to check your batteries.
2 years. That's what it's been for me. And Dave Bacon said 2 years too. And it's just the way it is, gang, because I'll tell you what, there's nothing more embarrassing than when your boss comes down for a trip and you push the button and the boat doesn't start. It's the worst feeling in the world when you've been getting paid for years and years and years, and you can't even keep the batteries up to date. Not that I've ever done it, but I've heard.
Yeah, or your charter group or whatever. Yeah, that's not right. That just gives them confidence in you. Yeah, the engine doesn't start. Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you got, Daniel? Can't hear us.
Yeah, it's just I'm reading comments on the side, trying to answer things at the same time.
Oh, good. Yeah. All right. I just saw you looking through something. I didn't know what you were doing.
It's off to the right, so I look at the comments here. Then I have to go to my phone and find the platform that the question was on. It's like a little game.
It doesn't have a little F or a little.
I'm trying to figure it out. I was looking at the criminal cat. Where did that go? No, I couldn't figure out where he was. I found him finally, but I don't know. Yeah, so I guess I could tell he's on YouTube, so I could have gone straight to it. I'm learning.
Okay. There. All right.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Next week, Tiffany and I got something in store.
Oh, good.
We're going to tell a story. I'm going to tell a story. I get that way.
You going to embarrass me again with your stories?
My tombstone should read Captain David Bacon, storyteller. Okay. And I'd be happy with that. Okay. And then we're going to take it to a very out of the ordinary rod building discussion for this show. And then I'm going to turn it over to Captain Tiffany to do the whole technical thing of how to make this happen.
Okay.
So we're stepping out of the box a little bit next week.
Nice.
And that's all I'm going to say.
I'm good for it. Gang, tomorrow is going to be a super special show. We were going to have Mikey as our guest. That was what we planned on. Mikey and I planned on. But you know what? Unfortunately, he's not going to make it tomorrow. So the Kelly girl's going to join me on the show tomorrow as my guest. You guys can call in your questions, call in whatever you want to do. Kelly girl's going to be on here tomorrow. We're going to be talking more about Mikey, and we'll talk about Kelly and I and the great relationship we have and how much love we have for each other. But you guys tune in tomorrow to watch the Dave Hansen and Kelly show tomorrow. And I'm just letting you know, gang, I know that this has been kind of a different kind of show than we normally do, but
it's necessary.
We got a lot of stuff going on. I want you to stay vigilant on what's happening with Mikey. Pay attention. Watch Phil Freeman. He's going to let us know if anything's happening because he's talking to everybody down there and he knows what's going on. And yeah, it's like
They're
coming
on
out
it,
of the
man. They're
cold.
going to find him today. Everybody's headed to that area. They're going to find him before dark.
Yep, you got some real good fishermen headed into the area. You got some big giant boats. You got little boat. You got everybody's looking for Mikey right now. When he tells the story, it's going to be so bitching. So let's just hope and pray that they find him today and he doesn't have to spend another night on another beach somewhere. And
Amen to that.
anything you want to add, Daniel or Tiffany or Dave Bacon? We got a couple of seconds.
Just wanted to add that, we did today's show differently, but it's very necessary in the help of finding Mikey and getting him back home. Rod building we can do whenever and forever if needed be, but this is this case is a very sensitive case. It's got to be done immediately.
And we're a community. This is something we do together.
Oh, yeah. And keep all your negative thoughts to yourself, gang. If you think you have something negative you need to share, go ahead and share it on some other platform, like maybe your platform. You don't need to share anything negative here. We don't really care.
Positive thoughts.
That's all we want to see. That nothing will get you banned faster than making a negative thought on this show today. I promise you that. We'll be looking at the comments and we'll be banning people for stupid stuff. I can't believe the amount of hate that my buddy Phil Freeman got this morning from all those people talking about him. He's the guy. He's giving us the info, gang. So
I'm so glad I didn't see any of it.
Yep. So thank you very much, Daniel. Criminal Cat's back. He wants to talk about bait casters with you. You can talk offline. Call him up, or he gives you a call. Whatever. He's on YouTube.
Yeah, I answered him and left my number on there. He can call anytime. Call me.
Absolutely. Call Daniel. Get in touch with him. And Dave Bacon, Tiffany, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys all the time being on the show with me.
Glad to be here with you, Captain.
And Daniel, we'll see you tomorrow. Or no, we'll see you next Thursday. What am I saying?
I'll see you tomorrow too.
We'll see you next Thursday. And tomorrow's show will be great. My love, my beautiful baby girl is going to join us. And we got a lot to talk about. So just tune in tomorrow, gang, and we'll keep an update on what's going on with the search for Mikey. God bless you all and keep him in your thoughts.
Thank you.